Hey, I'm totally excited to have you here today with me on Real Talk. I'm really excited because I have some guests with me. And as most of you know, Father's Day is June the 19th. And this, what we're doing today, is a very special edition as it relates to Father's Day. On my far right, I have Minister Marc Black, and then close to me I have Reverend Joshua Bair, and then to my left I have Robert Gwaltney, and then over to my far left I have Brandon Crosby. I'm excited because basically I have men who represent different generations, and they are going to speak out of their particular context and also out of their experiences. Now, guys, I want you to respond totally spontaneously how you feel in response to the questions that I'm getting ready to ask you. And here's my first question to you. Here it is. What are some of the greatest challenges that fathers are literally facing in this particular time and in the culture that we find ourselves in?
I would say the greatest challenge that we have in our culture is an influential relationship with our children. There are so many outside distractions that keep us from being, as parents, from being as influential as we should be or need to be in this time. There are so many things coming at our young people that it's hard. It's hard for them to navigate what's right and what's wrong, which is why we as adults and as parents and grandparents need to be able to have the greater influence over their lives.
Influence. Someone would like to hitchhike onto that thought?
Well, I guess when we influence our children, sometimes we make the mistake of forcing them to be something that they're not. We try to live our lives through them. You know, we try to basically, you know, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, but we have to understand and respect that child is not exactly you. So what we need to understand is that we need to give them guidance. We need to give them barriers and guidelines, and put them in line, because they're going to hit those walls. They're going to make those mistakes, but we need to be there to pick them up, dust them off, put them back on the right path, and give them the advice, give them the insight to say, hey, I made this mistake. Now, I don't want you to make the same mistake, but you have to understand and respect, if that is the only way they're going to learn that lesson, then they have to make that mistake.
So you're saying we need to give our kids the freedom to mess up?
Yes. Kids are not perfect.
Okay.
I mean, we're not perfect.
Right.
No one on this earth is perfect. The only person that's been on this earth is perfect is Jesus Christ. Short of him, nobody's perfect. So yes, we have to understand that they're going to make the mistakes. And as parents, especially as dads, we have to understand that when they make that mistake, it's not the end of the world. Don't condemn them. Don't come down so hard on them that they feel like, I'm not worth it. Woe is me. You don't want to do that. Yes, let them know they made the mistake. Let them know it was wrong. But at the same time, how do I build them up from there?
How do you build them up? It seems like to me that you're also referring to some parents who take on this role of being a helicopter kind of a parent who's overprotective, over-controlling, and does not give the child the freedom to mess up, and in controlling and trying to hold the child like a puppet on a string, the child never really comes into their own, and as a result, they never mature to what God designed them to be.
Yes, exactly. And also, I don't want to take over, but my thing is with a helicopter parent, if you're always over your child, you are always trying to guide what your child is doing, you're always trying to make your child go left when they want to go right, you're not exercising faith. Because if you look at it, if I have prayed to God and I have given my child back to God as he has given to me as a gift, and I understand that I am putting Christian values in them, I have to give them an opportunity for those values to come to come to the surface. And if I am always there picking them up and keeping them safe, and all, they're never going to come to the surface. So you have to exercise some faith and letting your child go out there and do what they're going to do and understand that they may make mistakes, but we're there to catch them.
Wow, I like what you're saying. Anybody else like to respond? Well, let me ask you this other question. What are some of the essential qualities a father must possess in today's culture?
I think one of the key qualities that a father needs to possess is mainly patience. It goes right back to what Mark was saying a few minutes ago. You're going to need to have patience because you need to let the child make mistakes. You need to let the child kind of find their own way, their own path. If you're being that helicopter parent, by the time, if you don't give the child that freedom to do what they need to do, if you're not patient with that child, eventually when your guidance, your helicoptering is not there, you're going to open that child up to learn finally for the first time a whole slew of things that could be potentially worse than if you had just allowed that child to learn from the start. And sometimes, especially in my case, my children are young.
How old? Now tell us, Brother Brandon, how old are yours?
Well, my son is almost 2.
Almost 2.
Almost 2.
So you're a young father.
Yes.
Okay, you're a young father. Okay, real young.
He's acting like he's 3, but he's almost 2.
He's almost 2.
And my daughter she's almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months.
Almost 2 months.
Okay.
So, I'm still learning.
You're learning.
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So, and patience is the key. And I'm learning now that I thought I had patience with my son, but now that I have a daughter in the equation, I'm learning that I need even more patience because now my son is a little bit more demanding of my time. So his needs have grown. So I'm having to watch him. I'm having to learn from him. I'm having to, just as much as I teach him, he's teaching me as well.
Wow.
So I would say patience is, it's detrimental.
So when your son comes to you, he's not, what I'm hearing you saying, he's not an interruption into your busy schedule.
Oh, absolutely not. He's a blessing, if anything. He's not an
interruption. He's a blessing.
Yes.
Okay.
I actually appreciate it. Because before I had children, I just worked all the time. I always worked. If I had free time, I made more time for work. I didn't make enough time for me, and what my son forces me to do, what my daughter forces me to do, is take a step back so that when I'm working too hard, or if my son's coming to me and say, hey, Dad, spend some time with me, I'm saying, oh, okay, I need to take a break.
So what kind of time do you spend with him? What do you do?
Oh.
What do you do? What do you do to engage your son so that you're not so busy with life that you can't engage him?
Well, lately the thing is going outside.
Going outside.
So he sees me outside doing all types of work, from gardening to cutting the grass to cleaning things. So his whole fascination is outside. Even if I'm not outside, he wants to go outside now. And every so often, I find him imitating me through the window, trying to water things with my watering can, or acting as if he has a lawnmower. So now what we do is we go outside. So every so often when I'm at home, if he tugs on me or if he goes and he grabs his shoes and he wants to like go outside, I'll just go outside with him. We'll go for a walk. I'll take him to his swing. We can swing. If he wants to ride around in his little Power Wheels, we do that too.
So he imitates you?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Seems as though you're giving him a definition of masculinity.
Yes. The right one.
I think that's what I'm hearing from you, that he's looking at you, he's imitating you, and in the imitation, he's getting a definition of masculinity.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Yeah, and now you got it. You did it right. You got a balance of male and female.
God gave me that blessing.
Anybody else want to respond? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you another question here. Let me see. Taking care of your child's mental and emotional needs is so important, right? Can you provide examples of what you do to make this a possibility as a father? Anybody want to respond to that? Taking care of the mental and emotional needs.
For me, I'm learning more and more that work-life balance is critical for the development of both of my daughters' mental health. Mental health is something that is at an all-time low, and so where I try to help them is that we often think our children are gifts, but for our children, our parents are our gifts. And so what the gift is, you got to give your time to your children.
Time.
And so for me, I spend as much time as I can, phone down, locked in, on the floor, playing with them, spending time. And for me, I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So
wow.
It's a lot of on the ground dolls, because I got 2 girls. So and the other thing is, for me, because I'm married, is that they look to me and they see the way I love their mother.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I have to be an example, and I have to be aware of that. And so sometimes I don't always get to say what I want to say in the moment. Sometimes I have to put it on pause and wait for the girls to get away from the moment. And so sometimes it's a lot of saving face to save them, because I say too much in front of them prematurely could damage them. And so, that's what I'm learning.
So what I'm hearing you saying, that's so well put, that as fathers, it's so fundamentally important that we love our wives in front of our kids. And that's part of the package, if I want to say, part of our responsibility in terms of being fathers.
I would say that, but also for those who have children, for those of us who are not married, because not everybody married that has kids, and so it's imperative that the person that the co-parent situation is still cognizant of the fact that you still gotta love their mother or show respect to their mother, even if y'all not kicking it no more, even if y'all not together no more. It's critical for the son to see it, and it's critical for the daughter to see it. Both children have to be able to see that, we're not, mom and dad are not together, but there's a mutual respect.
Wow, that respect is pretty awesome. You want to say something, Minister Marc Black?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on what Reverend Josh said.
Yeah.
As men in the co-parenting situation, what they seem to forget is that, and even the marriage situation, that child sees how you treat the mother.
Wow.
Not only that, when you treat the mother badly or you treat the mother with disrespect, you give the permission for the child, but you're also disrespecting the child because you got to realize half of that child is the mother, male or female. So if you don't treat the mother right, technically you're not treating the child right. So now you have a family that's in dysfunction.
Wow.
So what the male has to do is that, sometimes, like Reverend Josh said, we got to step back. And, I may want to say something. I may even feel justified in saying it. But I have to think of what are the ramifications if I do say it? How is it going to affect my wife or the mother of my child? And how is it going to affect the child? Because eventually we'll see, what the child will see is not only will the child see they can disrespect their mother, the child will feel that, if I'm part of both of them, whatever part of her that he doesn't like is in me, and he doesn't like that in me. So it transfers, and we have to be careful of that.
I think you're absolutely right. You talk about ramifications. I'm going way back now. I remember a time in my own personal life whereby my dad was really disrespectful to my mom. And it's amazing to this day, I can remember what he said. I was very young, and when you're young like that, it has a profound impact on you. I remember the tone. I remember how my mom was devastated by what my dad said. So I think you're absolutely right. I think we have to be so cognizant of what we are saying in the presence of our kids. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Our kids look to us, especially at the, and I'll say all my children are grown. I have grown grandchildren.
You got grandchildren.
I got grandchildren.
Okay.
And they have children, so I got great-grandchildren. And one of the things that my wife and I tried not to do, and that was to have disagreements in front of the children. In front of them, because, like you said, Pastor, it sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And it becomes a gauge for them in their relationships in terms of how they speak, what they speak. Our children are formed by the things that we not only say, but the things that we also do. So we have to be extraordinarily careful about what we say and how we treat our spouses in those relationships, or let me put it this way, or the mother of the children. That we have to be really careful in how that is, because that influences them in their choices about mates later on in life.
Do you think our boys, do you think kids are becoming somewhat more aggressive in the society in which we live today, or not?
I don't know if they're becoming more aggressive, but I know that if anything, they're becoming maybe a little bit more spoken. It seems that as time goes on, people are becoming more comfortable with being able to say things, or being more comfortable with just being able to be themselves. I can remember how I grew up in the early 90s is not how kids were growing up in the 2000s. It's not how kids are growing up now. I'm sure it's not the same as how things were for my parents as well. So it just seems like as time progresses, people are becoming more comfortable with being able to be more free with their speech and just their actions. So I don't know if it's a more so as an aggressive thing, as more so as of comfort.
A comfort thing. Okay. I think there's a difference between authoritarian parenting and authoritative parenting. Authoritarian parenting, basically, the authoritarian parent is very high on demandingness. They demand a lot from the child. do this, do this, do this, but they're very low on responsiveness. So they demand a lot from the child, but they don't respond to the needs of the child. Authoritative parenting is totally balanced. They are authoritative, they demand respect, they demand certain things, but they're also on the same level in terms of responding to the needs of the child.
Yes.
And I think you've got to have that kind of a balance.
I agree. We have to have balance.
That balance is crucial to who they are and what that child will eventually become in life. Any other thoughts do you have here today? Well, this has been absolutely wonderful. I just appreciate you all being here. I just want to let you know that July the 9th and the 10th, we'll be having Men's Weekend. Promises to be an exciting time, and I believe that God is going to bless that weekend as the men get ready to sing. And in fact, the brothers in the church are going to just totally take over the worship service. And I'm excited about that opportunity to see our men singing and worshiping and praising God. And then on Father's Day, the 19th, I'll be preaching a sermon coming from the text, I must be about my Father's business. And I believe that fathers really need to be about God's business. Well, it's been a blessing having you with us here today on Real Talk. God bless you, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now, Dr. Bair.